Right, hello folks. I did finish early today, so the woodland fairies or construction workers have been down to finish this bit off. So I thought I'd come down and do a little video of those cover boxes that I promised to do. And it's midweek after the 5th inspection, I think, I can't remember. So those little girls are having a great time out in the sun. And it's not particularly warm, but they are bringing in masses and masses of pollen. So that's good. And these girls are doing the same. And you can hear that lovely noise. They're all really happy. So hopefully we'll be left alone to have a look at the covers, but they're going to need double brooding this weekend, I would guess. And I want to put this colony... Oh, hello. There's a young lady just landed on my hand. Hello. So you put anything in the way of their flight path and they land on it. But anyway, these are going to have to go on double brood, and I want to put this lot in that box. So I'm just going to run quickly through the component parts of it. And yeah, I'll just stop this video and dismantle it because you need to get a clearer understanding. But pretty much this lid here is made of 2-inch Celotex, and the floor is also 2-inch Celotex or PIR board, whatever you want to call it. So I'll dismantle it and then show you the bits in individual terms. Right, so as you've seen in videos, normally the actual brood box is in here. You've seen that in other videos that I've shown you. And so the tunnel that you see there, what actually happens is that this actually wiggles back. Now you get a better view of it there. So you see where that pencil line is? That's normally where the hive is, and I can just push that back so it rests with the hive. And then if you want to lift this box up, you just pull it back slightly or move the box, the actual hive box. So that's a tunnel into the internal bit. This is double skinned with 3mm ply there, and then these are 25 bits of batten and 6mm ply on the outside. Having, you know, there were lots of teething trouble to start with, so I consulted Mimi Dave, who's a mind-bendingly brilliant carpenter and joiner, actually trained as a joiner, so he knows about constructing things far better than I can. As you can see, this is all a bit dodgy builder stuff. But anyway, so these two tabs here, these little elbows, little brackets, they're to stop the box sliding too far forward. So you push it up against there and you know it's going to be equal distance from the front of the box, so you get it right in the center. And then I drew a pencil line round, you can see there, just so I can see the side of the box when this cover is off. So he says, come off. Yeah. Typical, can't get the blooming thing apart now. Hang on a second. Right, you still there? Yeah, you are, good. Right, so on the underside of this, I don't know whether you can see that now, there is a ridge there. You see this bit here? That pushes against the front of this bit here, along there. It pushes up against that, and then it just drops down at the back here. Sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. So it rests against the back. Now what used to happen was I would stand here with my legs like that and then bang it, and it would move forward, and then I'd walk off and there'd be a gap. There'd be a gap between this and the hive. So my mate Dave, who isn't from Leeds by the way, or up north, he said put those two little packers there, or those little stops, and then when you put it on at the front you can just pull it back and it will just sit on those, and there's only a couple of millimeters there just to stop it moving. So if you hit this now, it's not going forward. So that's pretty much it really, nothing too technical. There's some supporting beams about here-ish underneath. I can show you that now, I've got it apart, I can show you that. So that just adds a little bit of extra support where the edge of the hive sits here. So that's that, and yeah, that's about it really. So yeah, I've labelled them all so that they all seem to be bespoke fit because of my dodgy carpentry work. But there you go, you can see the little tabs there now, little L-shaped brackets, and the line where the front of the hive rests. So yeah, that's all there is to say on that really. I suppose all I could add is that the height from there to there is just lower than a floor and one brood box, so that your frames are always above, you know, you've got your frames above this level here. Otherwise you'd have the devil's own job trying to pick them out in, you know, from inside. If they were lower, if they're there, you'd have a real devil's own job getting those out. And so this height plus that height there is enough to get a double brood box, to overwinter a double brood box, and it's also enough to put a feeder on top with a single brood box. So yeah, that was the reason for doing that. And then if we look down at the other apiary when we go down there to feed them, then there's that size box over here. Hang on a sec. See, this is how much higher that box is. So that allows you to have a double brood and one super, and then if you want to go higher you just put one of those on top. So you put one of those on top of one of those, and then you can go 2 brood boxes, 3 supers. So it's a bit like a WBC type of arrangements that the Victorians invented. I can't remember who actually invented that hive system, and they've got what they call lifters, but the lifters are only, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, so you've got about 15 lifters to get up to here somewhere. So these are just the same concept, and you know, a lot of people have said, oh, you ought to patent them, it's a great idea. But the thing is, if you patent them, you've got to demonstrate that you've actually invented something that nobody else has come close to inventing, and blah 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 blah. So, you know, all I can say is that movable tunnel's a new idea, and this bit here to keep the rain off and the snow off. If it snows, it all just runs down the front and the entrance is still open. I mean, you know, that's just common sense. That's not an inventive solution to an existing problem that, you know, nobody else has thought of. It might be, you know, nobody else might have thought of it exactly like that, but the thought or the concept of lifters has been thought about before in the Victorian age. So yeah, that's about it really. That's all I've got to say on those. So these girls will be getting a luxury home at some point soon, and they are piling in the pollen. Look at it, absolutely crowding it in. So that's lovely. And you haven't got smelly vision. I wonder if that, and it goes all blurry, does it? I don't know. So yeah, you haven't got smelly vision, but you can actually smell the pollen and the hive here. It's really nice. That seems to be the best setting. So I'll just put my phone in the way of them so it gets hammered rather than I do. Isn't that a lovely noise? Mesmerising really. You've probably heard enough of it by now, but I'll stop there.